We turn to Eric Smith. He's the Associate Director of the Tulane Energy Institute. Eric also is a clinical finance professor at Tulane University School of Business, and also, we should point out, has 26 years of experience in offshore drilling. Eric, thanks for your time.
Happy to be here.
So we're getting these new numbers again from this report. About 8,000 to 12,000, they believe, have suffered job losses related to the moratorium. I imagine you're surprised by the findings.
No, not really. I think that the basic issue is, what are you measuring? And looking at the 5 parishes that are most affected is going to pick up a certain number of the people, but actually these workers, once they come ashore, live all over the Gulf South. So you should be looking at parishes in Shreveport. You should be looking at Mississippi, Jackson, Biloxi, Gulfport, Texas, also eastern Texas. So the direct effects are going to be larger than just those 5 parishes. We estimate only about half of the direct workers, the rig workers, actually live in Louisiana, and only about half of them live anywhere near the coast.
Eric, it's Lizzie. I wanted to ask you about the larger Gulf Coast economy, because you and I have talked about this. There is a very skewed economy in the Gulf. Oil and gas services make up the most of it. Do we have a sense of the larger Gulf output that will be affected by this? Not just jobs numbers, unemployment claims, the kind of metrics that the administration is using to track this.
Well, I mean, we've talked before about tourism and about fishing and about some of the other things, not least of which would be the petrochemical manufacturing, to the degree that the refineries end up running more imported crude and less domestic crude. That will be another effect to be concerned about. I also would think that you won't see an immediate price impact, but remember, there are tremendous lag effects when you start talking about oil and gas. It takes years to build a new rig. It takes years to put one under contract, and then when it's under contract, it stays under contract for quite a while. So I think that the worst effects will come much later, not in the next month or two.
Eric, if you can explain your perspective on this moratorium.
The moratorium, in my perspective, was a knee-jerk reaction at a time of crisis at the beginning of the spill, and it's been an issue watching the government attempt to justify it ever since.
But what about the need for strict oversight in that region when it comes to that kind of drilling?
Well, I would point out how many wells we've drilled and how many accidents we've had. 41 years is a pretty good track record. I think the airlines would love to have a 41-year record between accidents.
So you don't think that any changes need to be made?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I think there are some changes that were suggested by that original expert committee that have been adopted. I just don't think the moratorium made sense.
Eric Smith, an Associate Director of the Tulane Energy Institute. Eric, thank you. And Lizzie O'Leary, as always, terrific insight, again, after spending some 4 months there covering this story since the very beginning. Lizzie, thank you as well.